I hope my slides are visible, Dr.
Yeah,
Pawan.
they are visible. They are visible.
Okay. Okay. So the topic that I'm going to speak about is can how can we detect cancers early and how can we prevent them? So I think this is a very very important topic because जैसे अभी डॉक्टर एमपी जैन ने भी बोला कि the number of cancer cases are rising every day and I think every household today is affected by cancer. So you and me have to do something to prevent cancer and what we should do, that is what I'm going to talk about today. So currently at any point of time there are around 18 million newly diagnosed cases and every year around 8 lakh cancer deaths happen worldwide. बट सबसे बड़ी रिस्क की बात और डरावनी बात यह है कि द कैंसर इंसिडेंस बाय 2050 is expected to increase by 70%. I want to say this again. The cancer incidence is going to increase by 77% by 2050. तो आज 2025 में हमारे पास जितने कैंसर के पेशेंट्स हैं 2050 तक वो 77% उनका इंक्रीज होने वाला है एंड दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रिवेंटेबल कॉजेस ऑफ कैंसर विच इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग टू अंडरस्टैंड बिकॉज 70% of the cancers are preventable and but the certain thing which is good also is that overall the cancer death rates are dropping by an average of 1.5% per year. Cancer mortality has gone down to 30% from 1990 to 2017. Lung cancer deaths have dropped down by 50% in men and by 26% in women. And although the breast cancer death, although the incidence is increasing, but the breast cancer death rates, they are dropped by 40%. Prostate cancer death rates have dropped by 52%. Colorectal cancer death rates have dropped by 53%. And liver cancer mortality does not seem to be going down much, but we are seeing a good number of cases. Now, but what we need to understand is that everything is not bad about cancer for two reasons. One is that 70% of cancers are preventable. Yes, you heard it right. 70% of cancers are preventable because let's see what are the most common causes of cancer. So, tobacco alone is responsible for 33% of cancer cases, which can be easily controlled. Excess weight and obesity is responsible for 20% of cancers. Faulty diet is responsible for 5% of cancers. Lack of exercise is responsible for 5% of cancers. Occupational hazard 5%. The main common viruses are responsible for 5%, but the viruses which are causing the most common cancers are human papilloma virus, for which we have a vaccine, hepatitis B virus, for which we have a vaccine, and Epstein-Barr virus, which is for nasopharyngeal cancer. If someone has a positive family history, then the risk of cancer is 5%, and alcohol causes cancer in 3% of the cases. Bad ionizing radiation is responsible for 2%. 1% is because of prescription drugs. 3% are because of bad reproductive habits. Only 2% is because of pollution, and 11% of cases are unknown. So, if you see all these things, I mean, if you come up to prescription drugs, I think these family history is not under our control, but rest of the things are under our control. Now, what causes cancers? Dr. MP Jain also said that genetic factors are responsible, but if we see actually, environmental factors are responsible for cancer in 90 to 95% of the cases, and genetic factors are responsible only in 5 to 10% of the cases. So, what do you mean by genetic factors? It means that there is a risk of cancer running in the families. So for that, we have to first understand what do we mean by first degree relative, what do we mean by a second degree relative, and what do we mean by a third degree relative. So first degree relative in बिल्कुल घर के immediate लोग like parents, आपके भाई बहन, आपके बच्चे, they fall into the first degree relatives. Then second degree relative में आपके हो जाएंगे मामा जी, मौसी जी, they will बुआ, they will come into the second degree relatives, and third degree would be your cousins या मौसी के बच्चे या वो उस जो मतलब थर्ड जनरेशन आ जाएगी, दोज विल बी द थर्ड डिग्री रिलेटिव्स. सो अगर आपकी फैमिली में फर्स्ट डिग्री रिलेटिव्स में कैंसर है तो रिस्क का खतरा ज्यादा है. But if you have patients in the second degree or third degree relatives, then the number of cases, family members who are affected should be more. Now, इसको फैमिली जेनेटिक फैक्टर्स को हम कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि जिस घर में आप पैदा हुए उसकी फैमिली हिस्ट्री को आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते हो. बट you must know who all are affected in your family so that you can get your regular screening test done and take preventive actions. Like, just to give you a simple example, if suppose someone in your family had prostate cancer, then the screening for men for prostate cancer should begin early. Say 40 years of age, you should start getting prostate cancer screening done. Similarly, if someone in the family had breast cancer, then the screening for breast cancer should start at least 5 years earlier than the age at which your family member was affected. I will come to that into details later. Now, the genes which cause cancer, so mainly, if we can see, testicular cancer is responsible because of bad genes in 8.6% of the cases, thyroid cancer in 8.5% of the cases, breast cancer 1.8, melanoma 2.1, prostate 2.2, kidney cancer 2.5, कोलोरेक्टल 2.5, लंग कैंसर 2.6 एंड मल्टीपल मायलोमा 2.6. हमने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि मल्टीपल मायलोमा भी फैमिलीज में रन कर सकता है, बट एक्चुअली इफ यू सी, these are the cases which can run in the family. Now, coming to environmental factors, I told about this earlier, that 25 to 30% of cancers are tobacco related. Bad dietary habit causes 30 to 35% of cancers. Alcohol, 3 to 6% of the cases. Obesity is, of course, related to a bad dietary habit and not doing adequate exercises. And infections for 15 to 20% of the cases, which are under our control. So these factors are under our control, which are causing the maximum number of cancers. So we have to change today's lifestyle to prevent tomorrow's cancer. Now let's come to and understand the warning symptoms of cancer. Warning symptoms of cancer का एक बहुत simple mnemonic है, which is caution us. So I'll go into one by one. So C stands for change in bowel or bladder habits. What it means is that if the bowel and bladder habits change, like bowel habits means you keep on having excessive diarrhea, you have constipation, you have blood in stools, you have mucus in stools, then it could be a symptom of colon cancer. Similarly, if the bladder habits would change, means someone has difficulty in passing urine, difficulty in initiation of urine, there is blood in the urine, or if so, it could be because of any problem either in the kidneys or in the ureters, in the urinary bladder, in the prostate, or in the penile area, which would be responsible for these. So we have to look for, think of these causes. If there is any change in bowel or bladder habits, then the doctor should be consulted, and you please look for these symptoms if any of your patients is telling these symptoms. Then a sore that does not heal. कोई भी ऐसा घाव जो कि भर नहीं रहा है, which can be anywhere in the body. It can be on the tongue, it can be on the gums, it could be on the cheeks, it could be in the armpit, breast, inside the stomach, in the gastric mucosa, inside the esophagus. It could be in it could be on the breast, or on the skin. So any ulcer which is not healing. So as a doctor, if any ulcer is not healing for more than 2 weeks and the feel is not looking good, then please get it investigated. Then unusual bleeding or discharge, from where all the bleeding can happen. So suppose your patient tells that he has a nasal bleeding, then we should think of something sitting behind the nose. That is, there could be some tumor in the nasopharynx or in the paranasal sinuses. If there is bleeding in the mouth, then it can come either from tongue cancer, it can come from the oropharyngeal mucosa, it could be from the esophagus, it could be because of the esophagus cancer. Then if someone complains of bleeding in the cough, it means there is a tumor sitting in the lungs. If someone complains of bleeding in the mouth, then it could be because of bleeding through the stomach. If there is blood in the urine, I told about that, or if there are um, unusual bleeding from the vagina. So like uh, excessive heavy bleeding or dirty discharge from the vagina, or intermenstrual bleeding, or patient complaints of postcoital bleeding or postmenopausal bleeding. So even a single episode of postmenopausal bleeding should not be ignored by a doctor. And if your patient complains of a postmenopausal bleeding, please immediately get her ultrasound abdomen done and see for the thickness of endometrium. Then any dirty vaginal discharge, of course, could be a symptom of either a uterine cancer, cervical cancer, or ovarian cancer. Then bleeding can can be from the rectum also. Just a second. So the most common mistake that we do is that patient come to us and say that there is no pain in the lump, and we say, अरे अभी दर्द तो नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं, चिंता मत करो. We just tell them, we give them false hopes, and the patient goes back. And so most of the lumps in the breast or in the armpit, or the lumps of the lymphoma, or the muscular lumps, they don't cause any pain. So if the patient is not complaining of any pain, even then don't ignore them. So if a patient complains of any lump in the breast, the basic minimum thing that we can do is order for an ultrasound, so that you would know whether you are dealing with a fibroadenoma, whether you are dealing with a fibrocystic disease, or it is ductectasia or anything else. So any lump in the breast should be investigated. Then indigestion or difficulty in swallowing. Sometimes patients say that they are not able to swallow food, and we refer them to an ENT specialist, and we see that everything is okay, but actually there could be some problem in the cricopharyngeal area, in the cricoid area, in the upper esophagus, in the middle esophagus, in the lower esophagus, or in the stomach. So or indigestion, the women who come to us with ovarian cancer, the most common symptom that they say is indigestion. कुछ भी खाने को देखते ही उल्टी का मन करता है, खाने को देखते ही रिपल्शन हो जाता है, खाने को देखते ही मन नहीं करता, खाने को देखते ही उल्टी का मन करने लग जाता है. तो these are the symptoms which an ovarian cancer patient will come up with. So please don't ignore these symptoms in an elderly female. Or ovarian cancer can have two age groups. It could be a very younger a patient, say in 20 to 30 years of age, where she might be having dysgerminomas, or it can happen in even any women after 40 years of age. So indigestion also should not be ignored at all. Then obvious change in वार्ट और मोल, तिल या मस्सा का आकार बदलना, उसमें पेन होना, उसमें से डिस्चार्ज होना, उसमें इचिंग होना, these are not common. These should be biopsied. Then nagging cough or hoarseness of voice. So recently, a patient came to me 2 days back who has been referred from Rewari, and this patient only had complaint of hoarseness of voice. So I must congratulate the ENT doctor, Dr. Saxena, who diagnosed a nodule on the vocal cords, and it was biopsied, and it came out as a vocal cord carcinoma, and the patient is only T1, stage 1. So now the patient has complete chances of cure. So a hoarseness of voice, or sometimes patient may have constant cough because of irritation of the recurrent laryngeal nerve, and these can also lead to these symptoms. Or it could be because of a mass which is sitting in the lungs. Then, so this is caution. Then us. So sometimes you don't understand what is the cause of anemia in your patient. So anemia is happening. It could be because either the blood is not being produced properly because of some problem in the bone marrow, or the blood is being produced but it is being discharged. So I'll say due to blood in stools, blood in urine, or dirty vaginal discharge. So because of that, hemoglobin may drop down. Or sometimes the patients get extensive investigations done for complaint of tiredness, for breathlessness, and we find out something in the some cardiac problem, and patients are not investigated further, but ultimately they come up with multiple myeloma because hemoglobin levels are dropping down, the kidney functions are not okay. So Please keep these things also in mind. So if someone has deranged kidney functions and patient has anemia or they have thrombocytopenia, please please keep multiple myeloma as one of the suspicion in your mind. Then sometimes patients may complain of sudden and unexplained weight loss or fever. So sometimes fever for which you have no cause is the most common cause of cancer. And patients, they come up with complaint of sudden weight loss or unexplained weight loss in spite of not having any changes in their diet or not going to the gym or not doing any drastic changes in their lifestyle. So it could be because of cancer developing inside the body. So none of these symptoms should be ignored by any chance. And one more thing that I want to point out here is that many patients, they come up with gallbladder stones in a routine ultrasound, and we don't pay any attention to them. But let me tell you that gallstones are the most common cause of gallbladder cancer, and or gallbladder polyp, which is more than 1 centimeter. These should not be ignored because they have high chances of turning into cancer. And many, mainly patients in the gallbladder cancer, they are in the UP or in the Ganges area, and they come up with a complaint of gallbladder cancer, and we top the list in world in gallbladder cancers. Now, 80,000 to 1 lakh people die a day, every day, because of tobacco-related death. And this is one of the most common cause of cancer. And patients, they come up, they carry the suicide stick in their pocket. And many doctors also do that. And so, but everyone is a very learned audience, so I don't want to say much about that. But any of these forms are equally deadly, whether it is a filtered tobacco, whether it is an unfiltered tobacco, whether it's a normal BD, rolled BD, hookah, or cigars, or snuff, or anything. So these are suicide sticks or suicide material which we carry in our pockets. So these are poison in disguise now. I don't know how many of you have seen this slide, but this is my favorite slide, which I want to show in each and every presentation of mine. So these are all the constituents of the lovely cigarette. So it has methane gas, it has arsenic, it has carbon monoxide, it has methanol, toluene, barbecue lighter, candle wax, cadmium batteries, butane or the lighter fluid, acetic acid in very high amounts, then nicotine, ammonia, toilet cleaner, and paint. Only these are the things which are in this lovely cigarette, which many doctors also consume. So, and we think कि इसमें सिर्फ nicotine होता है. So nicotine, basically, why is nicotine added? Because nicotine is a CNS stimulant. So whenever the CNS levels of nicotine go down, then a person has a craving to smoke a cigarette. And that is why this is mainly responsible for the addiction that happens because of consumption of tobacco in any form. So now some people say that I only smoke, or I only take wine, or I take neither of them, or I'm a very social drinker and I don't take it very often. So let me tell you how many cigarettes are there in a bottle of wine. Okay. So now these are the cancers which are caused by smoking in any form. So around smoking alone causes cancers of 16 body sites. So like patients who smoke, they are at increased risk of oral cancers, oropharyngeal cancers, tongue cancer, tonsillar cancer, then retromolar trigon, then base of tongue, then 57% of males, they have risk of oropharynx cancer because of tobacco consumption. 73% of laryngeal cancers, they happen because of smoking. Then food pipe cancers, 54% of esophageal cancers, 14% of stomach cancers, 25% of pancreatic cancers, 48% of anal cancers, 84% of lung cancers, 43% of bladder cancers, 28% of kidney cancers, 30% of penile cancers, 19% of cervical cancer, 4% of vulval cancers, and 10% of uterine cancers. They happen just because of tobacco consumption. And if we see about alcohol, then five sites are caused by alcohol. So one is oropharynx. So when someone is taking alcohol, then alcohol acts as a solvent, and in that the tobacco products, they dissolve easily, and it damages the oral mucosa, which is now more prone to toxins. So because of that, 21% of oropharyngeal cancers, 21% of laryngeal cancers, 14% of esophageal cancers, almost 80 to 85% of liver cancers, and women who take alcohol, they are at increased risk of breast cancer. So if someone is doing both, so if someone is taking both tobacco and alcohol, then the risk of cancer goes up by 34%, which is otherwise maybe 8 to 10%. So if how safe is alcohol? So there is 7% risk of breast cancer with 10-gram consumption per day. If someone is taking 50 to 70 grams of alcohol per day, then it causes liver and bowel cancer. Even up to 2 drinks per day leads to 8 to 23% risk of prostate cancer, and 25 to 70% of upper aerodigestive tract cancers are because of alcohol. And if someone takes alcohol and they also develop HCV, hepatitis C viral infection, then the risk of hepatocellular carcinoma increases by 2 times. These happen because ethanol is a co-carcinogen, and it leads to formation of acetaldehyde and free radical generation, which leads to increased risk of cancer. So let's see how much alcohol is in what type of alcohol that you are taking. So like if someone is taking spirits, 30 ml of spirits, it has 40% of alcohol per volume. If someone is taking fortified wine, 60 ml, it has 20% of alcohol. A regular beer, which is 285 ml, has around 5% of alcohol. A light beer, which is 425 ml, is around 2.7% of alcohol. 100 ml wine is 13% of alcohol, and sparkling wine has around 13% of alcohol. So if someone is not smoking but still taking 3 bottles of wine per week, it is equal to smoking roughly 8 cigarettes per week for men. And just see the risk for women. If a woman is taking 3 bottles of wine per week, it is equal to smoking 23 cigarettes. So the risk is that much high. Now, I think I've told about smoking, alcohol, and now let's talk about the warning signals of head and neck cancer. Because if any patients comes to you, how will you identify that patient might be at risk of head and neck cancer? So I talked about the mouth sores that do not heal, or there could be some white patches or red patches in the mouth, or there could be some raised crusty areas on the lips, gums, or other areas inside the mouth. The patient may complain of unexplained bleeding or persistent pain in the mouth. They might complain of unilateral nasal obstruction or bleeding. Or sometimes patients are not smoking, not taking alcohol, but there is a denture which is not fitting properly, and that keeps on eroding the part of the tongue, and which leads to constant irritation of the tongue, leads to cancers of the lateral border of the tongue, and then it has to be operated or cut upon. Or persistent hoarseness of voice. So if someone's denture is not fitting, then we should see there could be some tumor on the gums. So one of my very close friends, he was diagnosed because he had nothing was visible on an oral examination, but he would say that कुछ unusual सा feel होता है इस दांत की जगह पे. And then we got an X-ray done, and then it showed that erosion of the gums, and then he was found to have stage 4 cancer of the gingiva. And then, of course, he had a very mutilating surgery and radiation and chemotherapy and everything else. Now, coming to risk factors for lung cancer, tobacco smoke is by far the most important risk factor for lung cancer. Then, of course, I showed you that 2% cancers are because of air pollution. If someone has a family history of lung cancer, then the children are at risk of lung cancer, and that risk is around three times. If someone already had a lung cancer, then they have a risk of developing cancer in the opposite lung. age itself is a risk factor for cancer. So age more than 65 years is a risk factor for cancer. And of course, exposure to asbestos, arsenic, chromium, nickel, soot, tar, they can also lead to lung cancer. And many of us have basements and which we उनकी विंडोज हम कभी खोलते ही नहीं है, तो उनमें रेडॉन गैस एक्यूमुलेट हो जाती है, and that leads to increased risk of lung cancer for the families. So if you have unused basements, please उनका थोड़ा ध्यान रखिए, उनको हवा लगाते रहिए, because otherwise it can lead to increased risk of accumulation of radon gas. Now coming to breast cancer. Just a minute. I think the most disturbing thing for me is to tell a female to get her breast chopped. And आजकल हमारी कोशिश ये रहती है कि किसी भी फीमेल को ब्रेस्ट लूज ना करना पड़े, बिकॉज हम बहुत आसानी से ब्रेस्ट कैंसर्स को पकड़ सकते हैं. So we have to understand who is at risk of breast cancer. So age itself is a risk factor. The youngest female that I saw or treated was a 19-year-old girl. And the oldest lady that I have treated with with a breast cancer is a 95-year-old female. So age itself is a risk factor for cancer. Then बच्चे जो कि छोटी उम्र में मोटे होते हैं, मतलब बच्चे चबी गर्ल्स जो होती हैं, जिनका ब्रेस्ट हैवी होता है, या जो फीमेल्स बहुत ओबीज होती हैं, they are at increased risk of breast cancer. People who have high fat diet, they are at increased risk of breast cancer. आजकल बहुत सारे बच्चों में मिनारकी बहुत जल्दी हो जाती है. Like now, even menarche happens at 9 years of age, and females have a very late menopause, more than 55 years. So unopposed estrogen secretion leads to increased risk of breast cancer. Many females are not getting married and they are having first children after 30 years. Or even if they marry, they are not breastfeeding their children, or they are not having any children at all. So these are increased risk of breast cancers. Then, as I said, family history of breast cancer is also a very, very important risk factor for breast cancer. So what do we have to look for when we are examining any female with breast cancer? So as I said, lump, painless, painful, कोई भी हो, उसको इग्नोर नहीं करना है. कुछ फीमेल्स को निपल एरियोला कॉम्प्लेक्स के पीछे लंप होता है, जिसकी वजह से निपल इन्वर्जन हो जाता है. सो दैट इज एन इंक्रीज्ड रिस्क फैक्टर फॉर ब्रेस्ट कैंसर और सिम्टम ऑफ ब्रेस्ट कैंसर. देन कभी कभी जैसे संतरे का छिलका होता है, उस तरह की ऑरेंज पील अपीयरेंस होती है ब्रेस्ट की, वो बिकॉज लिम्फेटिक्स इन्वॉल्व हो जाते हैं, उसकी वजह से ब्रेस्ट का ऐसा फील हो सकता है. Then there could be some discharge from the breast or bleeding from the, कभी कभी डक्ट इक्टेसिया होता है, कोई डक्ट ब्लॉक होती है और आप डक्ट एक्सरसाइज करते हो तो उसमें डक्ट पैपिलोमा मिल जाता है, and which could be an early symptom of breast cancer. Then redness और रैश और स्किन चेंजेस. कभी कभी कुछ लोगों का पूरा ही ब्रेस्ट इन्फ्लेम्ड होता है, उसमें कोई स्पेसिफिक गांठ आपको महसूस नहीं होती, बट लगता है कि पूरी ब्रेस्ट में जैसे कि कोई गांठ है. कभी कभी कुछ पेशेंट्स ऐसे हमारे पास आते हैं जिनको हम इन्फ्लेमेटरी ब्रेस्ट कैंसर बोलते हैं, तो हम सोचते हैं कि इसमें ब्रेस्ट में कोई गांठ नहीं है एंड दे गेट इग्नोर्ड. या किसी किसी के निपल पे इचिंग होती रहती है, पेचेट्स डिसीज टाइप के सिम्टम्स होते हैं. सो दे आर ऑल सिम्टम्स ऑफ ब्रेस्ट कैंसर. अब ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है कि कौन से पेशेंट के लिए आपने कौन सा टेस्ट कब एडवाइज करना है. So ideally, you should counsel any female who comes to your clinic to start doing self-breast examination monthly after 20 years of age. हम अपने बच्चों को, अपनी लड़कियों को ही नहीं सिखाते हैं. तो हमारे बहुत सारे, हम सबकी गर्ल्स बड़ी हो रही हैं. So I think we should educate them to do a self-breast examination. Between 20 to 40 years of age, a doctor should examine the breast every 3 years. After 40 years, every female, whether doctor, non-doctor, रिक्शा पुलर, कोई भी है, उनको 40 years के बाद साल में एक बार डॉक्टर से अपना चेकअप जरूर कराना चाहिए. Women who are on hormone replacement therapy, they should do an yearly clinical examination by a doctor. अब पहले हम मैमोग्राम की एज बोलते थे 50 years. नाउ इट इज कम डाउन टू 40 years. बेसलाइन मैमोग्राफी हमको 40 years की एज पे करानी है. आइडियली 50 ईयर्स के बाद अब बाई एनुअल मैमोग्राफी हो गई है, मतलब 50 के बाद में आपको आइडियली साल में 2 बार मैमोग्राफी करानी चाहिए, जो हम नहीं कराते हैं। बट 40 to 50 की एज ग्रुप के बीच में कम से कम 3 साल में एक बार मैमोग्राफी होनी जरूरी है। तो अब सवाल ये उठता है कि 20 to 40 ईयर्स के एज में हम क्या करें, उसमें हम मैमोग्राफी क्यों नहीं करना, और नहीं करना तो क्या करना है। So basically, if someone is less than 40 years of age, you should order for an ultrasound of the breast, because अल्ट्रासाउंड विल डिटेक्ट द, बिकॉज यंगर एज में डेंस ब्रेस्ट होती हैं, और जो मैमोग्राम होता है वो फैट के थ्रू कैल्सिफिकेशंस को डिटेक्ट करता है। तो इसलिए 50 के बाद ब्रेस्ट में फाइब्रस टिश्यू कम हो जाता है, फैटी टिश्यू बढ़ जाता है। तो इसलिए 50 के बाद में मैमोग्राफी में आपको ब्रेस्ट कैंसर ज्यादा अच्छे से देखने को मिलेगा। 40 से कम में ब्रेस्ट अल्ट्रासाउंड इज अ बेटर मोडालिटी। बट कभी अगर किसी की फैमिली हिस्ट्री है या किसी का कोई ब्रैका जीन पॉजिटिव है, उसमें एमआरआई ब्रेस्ट इज अ बेटर मोडालिटी फॉर यंगर वुमेन टू डायग्नोज ब्रेस्ट कैंसर। अब आता है हाई रिस्क कौन होते हैं। हाई रिस्क में जैसे मैंने बताया था कि फर्स्ट डिग्री रिलेटिव में अगर किसी को ब्रेस्ट कैंसर हुआ है, तो उनको हमें मिनिमम 35 या 40 ईयर्स की एज ग्रुप में शुरू कर देना चाहिए। तो अगर किसी की फैमिली में फीमेल को 35 ईयर्स की एज में ब्रेस्ट कैंसर हुआ, उनकी फैमिली में किसी को, तो उनको कम से कम 30 ईयर्स की एज पे अपना ब्रेस्ट चेकअप शुरू करना चाहिए। नाउ हाउ टू डू अ ब्रेस्ट सेल्फ एग्जामिनेशन। तो ब्रेस्ट सेल्फ एग्जामिनेशन के ये 2 अलग अलग तरीके हैं। वन इज अ क्लॉक पैटर्न एंड सेकेंड इज अ वेज पैटर्न। क्लॉक पैटर्न मतलब क्या है कि द होल palm should be resting on the breast and it should not be done just with the fingertips. Armpit should be exposed so that you can examine the armpit area also. So it can be done like in a circular fashion, that like you start from the innermost part of the breast and keep on going in circles, 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 and examine everything right up to the sternal notch, up to the midline, and to the lateral border of up to the lateral border of axilla in the armpit. Or you can go in a wedge pattern and examine whole of the breast. So whatever is comfortable for you, that is okay. Now, thankfully, cervical cancer incidence is now going down. And I can very easily say that it is the most preventable and easily detectable cancer. So this is the lowermost part of the uterus, and which can be easily examined by a pap smear. So, but in spite of the fact that it is the most preventable cancer, only cancer for which a vaccine is very effective, even then 200 women die every day of cervical cancer. 8 women die every hour. Every 7 minutes, a woman dies in India because of cervical cancer. So, what are the most common symptoms? Abnormal bleeding, which can happen in between the periods, after intimacy with the partner. The spotting can happen after menopause. Even if a single episode of bleeding happens, it should not be ignored. Then unusual vaginal discharge, difficulty in passing urine, bleeding in urine, blood in stools, or leg pain or pelvic pain. These are the symptoms of cervical cancer. So we all know who are the risk, who is at risk of cervical cancer. So that I'm not going into details. Now coming to vaccines. Now आपके प्रैक्टिस में बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स पूछते हैं कि जी वैक्सीन के बारे में हमें बताओ, तो मैं 2 मिनट वैक्सीन पे बात करूंगी. So there actually, why is vaccine effective? Because cervical cancer happens because of human papilloma virus, which is a viral infection which is transmitted from a partner to the other partner. So it can be transmitted from a male to a female or from a female to a male, either through sexual intimacy, anal intimacy, or oral intimacy. So because of that, human papilloma virus is transmitted. Now, normally, there are 100 types of human papilloma viruses, and 90% of the infections they get cured on their own. But some viral infections they persist, and they can lead to increased risk of HPV cervical cancer. So there are several types like 16, 18, 31, 45, which are mainly cancer causing. So human papilloma virus vaccine is against these viruses. Now there are 3 types of vaccines. One is Gardasil, one is Gardasil 9. Earlier there used to be Cervarix vaccine, and then there is Cervarix. So Cervarix is not available now. Gardasil Gardasil is preventive against 4 types of human papilloma viruses. Gardasil 9 protects against 9 types of viruses. Cervarix is an Indian vaccine, which is a cheaper version, but which is a quadrivalent vaccine. So if you are vaccinating a child who is less than 14 years of age, then you need to give 2 doses. But if someone is beyond 14 years of age, then we need to give 3 doses. Now, some children might faint after getting the vaccine. So please observe the patient whomsoever you administer the vaccine for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Otherwise, they may faint outside your clinic. There could be pain, redness, and swelling at the injection site. So mostly this is a safe vaccine, but of course, any patient can have allergic reaction to any component of the vaccine. So you should always take consent about that from your patients. Now coming to ovarian cancer, as I said, the most common symptom is indigestion or postmenopausal bleeding. So patients will complain of very vague symptoms. तो नॉर्मली उनका ट्रीटमेंट एसिडिटी की तरह होता रहता है, ब्लॉटिंग हो रही है, पेल्विक पेन हो रहा है, एब्डोमिनल पेन हो रहा है, खाने का मन नहीं करता, खाने को देखते ही इच्छा भर जाती है, यूरिन की फ्रीक्वेंसी हो रही है, यूरिन की अर्जेंसी हो रही है, स्टमक अपसेट रहता है, पेन ड्यूरिंग इंटीमेसी, कॉन्स्टिपेशन, मेंस्ट्रुअल चेंजेस, unexplained changes in bowel habits, unexplained weight gain or loss, ongoing unusual fatigue, जो कपड़े पहले फिट हो जाते थे वो फिट नहीं हो रहे बिकॉज एसाइटिस हो गया है, एंड ऑल दो सिम्टम्स. सो ओवेरियन कैंसर के लिए एज सच कोई स्क्रीनिंग प्रोग्राम नहीं है बिकॉज दैट इज नॉट बीन इफेक्टिव, बट अ रूटीन अल्ट्रासाउंड कैन ऑफ कोर्स डिटेक्ट दैट. बहुत सारे डॉक्टर्स CA-125 रूटीन में कराते हैं. सो मैं सिर्फ ये समझाना चाहती हूँ कि CA-125 is not a tumor marker to diagnose cancer. It has a value in monitoring the patient, but it does not have a diagnostic value because normal value 35 तक होती है. But कई बार हमारे पास I had a patient who had a CA-125 of 30,000, but uh, uh, but it turned out to be tubercular. So CA-125 it has value in a diagnosed patient. It might indicate about cancer, but just because CA-125 is high does not mean that patient has ovarian cancer. And moreover, dysgerminomas जो हैं उनमें CA-125 नहीं बढ़ता है, उनमें अल्फा फीटोप्रोटीन या बीटा HCG बढ़ते हैं. So that's why CA-125 alone will not diagnose many of the ovarian cancers. Now coming to endometrial cancer. So normal screening is not recommended, as I said, but the thing is, any postmenopausal bleeding, a single episode should not be ignored. So ideally, we see the thickness of the endometrium. So normally in a postmenopausal female, it should be less than 8 or even less than 4. Some people say less than 4. So if someone has endometrial thickness of more than 8 millimeter, it should not be ignored. And that patient should get an endometrial curettage or get further investigations. So if someone has a history of endometrial cancer in the family, or cancer, or had a breast cancer or colorectal cancer in the family, or someone had hereditary ovarian cancer syndrome, these patients are at increased risk of endometrial cancer. And in those patients, we should do a pelvic examination, CA-125 test, and transvaginal ultrasound every 6 to 12 months. Now coming to colorectal cancer, which is increasing day by day. So उसका मेन कारण है faulty dietary habits, because we are not eating enough of fibers, we are not taking enough of water, हमारे spicy food बहुत ज़्यादा है, हमारा junk food बहुत ज़्यादा है, तो जिसकी वजह से हमको ये कोलोन कैंसर का रिस्क बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गया है. सो पेशेंट्स को प्रॉब्लम होती है वर्सनिंग कॉन्स्टिपेशन, ब्लड और म्यूकस इन द स्टूल्स, वेट लॉस, फीवर, लॉस ऑफ एपिटाइट, nausea, vomiting. So rectal patients will have complaint of rectal bleeding, or as I told ki only anemia could be a symptom of colorectal cancer because the blood is seeping down. So then weight loss, change in bowel habits as feeling of incomplete evacuation. So when to screen? Ideally, all of us above 50 years of age should do an annual fecal occult blood test or fecal immunochemical test. There should be a 5-yearly flexible sigmoidoscopy at least, or a 5-yearly double contrast barium enema. And in 10 years, at least a colonoscopy should be done. And if any of the other tests have been done, then all positive tests should be followed with a colonoscopy. Now, coming to prostate cancer symptoms, very easy to diagnose, very easy to treat, can be detected at a PSA level of 4. And even then, the patients who come to me, they come with a PSA level of 4,000, PSA level of 700, PSA 800, PSA 100. So, who is at risk of prostate cancer? Any men who is more than 60 years of age. If you have a family history of prostate cancer, आपके फादर को, आपके ब्रदर को, आपके चाचा को, उनको किसी को prostate cancer हुआ है, या आपकी फैमिली में किसी फीमेल को ब्रेस्ट कैंसर था which was BRCA positive, then the men are at risk of prostate cancer. And as I showed, men who take alcohol or men who smoke, they are at increased risk of prostate cancer. Men who have high fat diet, particularly animal fat, or who are exposed to cadmium or other radiations, they are at increased risk of prostate cancer. So what will be the symptoms? Thinning of stream or slow urinary stream, feeling of incomplete evacuation, dribbling or leakage of urine, discharge of blood in urine or semen. Then if the tumor has spread to bones or back, then they will have complaint of pain if it is spread to the bones. So ideally, every man who is at 40 years of age, they should do a baseline PSA screening. If the PSA is less than 1, yes, I'm repeating it again. If the PSA is less than 1, then you can just sit and relax. Don't do anything. Then repeat the PSA after 5 years. But if PSA is between 1 to 3 at 40 years of age, repeat your PSA after maybe 1 year or 2 years. If PSA is more than 4 at 50 years of age, do further investigations and don't ignore it. Okay, because if the tumor is detected in stage 1, then the patient does not even need any surgery. They don't need any hormonal treatments. Then I treat them only with 5 sittings of radiation, only 5 minutes treatment, and the patient is cured for life. But if the patient comes to me with stage 4 disease, then of course they have to do everything, radiation, hormone treatment, and in later stages, chemotherapy also. Can be very easily detected by a digital rectal examination, and we see for any nodularity or hardness in the prostatic area. And whenever you do order any PSA test for any of your patients and you have done a digital rectal examination, then please send PSA after 3 days, otherwise it would give a false value. Or if a prostatic biopsy has been done, then wait at least for a week before you repeat a PSA. And simple X-ray chest and MRI, multi-parametric MRI is very, very important to diagnose a prostate cancer. So I've told you that normal risk men 50 years annually, definitely PSA has to be done and digital rectal examination should be done. If there is a strong family history of one or more first degree relative diagnosed before age 65 years, then they should start screening at 45 years of age. And if multiple first degree relatives are affected, then at least at 40 years of age, PSA should be tested. So I had a young patient recently, 40 years of age, diagnosed with prostate cancer. So these days, the risk of cancer, any cancer, is going down. We are seeing more and more younger women with breast cancer, more and more men, younger men with prostate cancer, more and more younger people, 35 years, 40 years with rectal cancer, colorectal cancer, pancreatic cancer, kidney cancer. तो एज का जो बार था वो धीरे धीरे कम होता जा रहा है. सो हम जो एज के बेसिस पे पेशेंट्स को बोल देते थे, ये हम सोचते नहीं है पेशेंट को कैंसर हो सकता है, तो उस वजह से बिकॉज आर इंडेक्स ऑफ सस्पिशन इज वेरी लो, उस वजह से बहुत सारे कैंसर्स डायग्नोज नहीं हो पाते. So I think we should stop here and I'll just finish off with my last slide. So what are the superfoods to prevent cancer? So I call them G bombs. G stands for greens, B for beans, O for onions, M for mushrooms, B for berries, S for seeds. आजकल बहुत दिवाली के पैकेट्स में या उसमें आजकल बहुत गिफ्ट्स में आते हैं, सीड्स आते हैं. So seeds are protective, vitamins, and of course citrus fruits, they are protective against cancer. And of course, I told you that physical inactivity leads to increased risk of breast, colon, prostate, pancreas, and melanomas. So if people who have inactive lifestyle and who have large BMI, they have KRAS mutation in 30 to 50% of colon cancers. And if they do physical activity, then the colon cancer risk drops down by 50%. So similarly, high blood testosterone and IGF-1 levels and suppressed immunity due to lack of exercise may increase the prostate cancer risk, and even melanoma risk is high in people who don't do any exercises. So please do take care of yourself, go for regular checkups, and females who have doctors who have not got their mammogram done till date, or they are not getting any ultrasound abdomen done, please go and get it done. Thank you so much. I'll stop sharing my screen here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Indu. A wonderful talk. And there is one question from Dr. Vikram. Do we have any standard protocol for any age group as a blanket screening for cancer with family history positive?
So I would not say that there is any blanket screening test for any cancer. So I'll tell you one test which some people are doing by the name of Pantone. I don't know how many people of you have heard it. So this is a normal blood test. Via normal blood test, they detect for two abnormal kinds of proteins. So which tells about the risk of cancer. Okay. But the problem with that test is that it's a costly test. It's around 10 to 15,000 rupees test. And by elevated proteins, it would just say that you are at risk, but it does not tell you where is the most common probability of having cancer. Okay, so it would just raise your suspicion but would not guide you. So then you will again have to get everything done. So if I tell you that what should be done at one age, at one particular age, that I can tell you. So like for younger people, say for men 20 to 40 years of age, so apart from routine blood workup, because leukemias are common in that age group, lymphomas are common in that age group, and they could have testicular cancers. So ideally, we should educate our boys to do a monthly testicular examination, as we educate our daughters to do a monthly breast examination. But we hardly ever talk to our boys regarding monthly breast self-examination. So seminomas, they are very common in a younger age group. So from 20 to 40 years of age group, lymphoma, leukemia, sarcomas, and bone tumors, they are common. So for that age group, bony pains should not be ignored, weight loss should not be ignored, painless lump in the neck and all, they should not be ignored, and at least CBC, liver function, kidney function, they should be done. Now, coming to any female who is above, or males or females above 40 years of age, so at least they should do CBC, liver function, kidney function, X-ray chest, ultrasound abdomen. For men, they should add on PSA, and both males and females should get a lipid profile done, urine routine examination, stool examination. These are the basic things they should be done. And after 50, ideally we should do colonoscopy, but वो कोई भी नहीं कराता है. Young बच्चों में खासतौर से for childhood cancers, of course, weight loss, not thriving as per their age, any lumps in the neck. So lymphomas are common in the younger age group. Brain tumors are very common in pediatric population. So they should not be ignored, and of course blood workup. So basic जो बच्चों में आई थिंक सीबीसी इज अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टेस्ट. एंड सिमिलरली 20 to 40 ईयर्स के एज ग्रुप में अगर फीवर आ रहा है तो आपको बहुत सारे ल्यूकीमियास डिटेक्ट होते हैं, लिम्फोमास डिटेक्ट होते हैं, मल्टीपल मायलोमा इज बीइंग डिटेक्टेड बाय ब्लड कैंसर बाय अ रूटीन ब्लड टेस्ट. So no specific test I would say, but we have to see the age group and then think of getting the test done.
I think your slide by the mnemonic caution us. It is probably the most important slide. It gives us the warning symptoms of cancer, and if any of the warning symptoms is present, then probably we should go for further investigations. Otherwise, routine investigations are usually a futile exercise, and it is a costly exercise for a
No, I would not agree to
economically
that. I,
economically deprived country of uh, like India. And
no,
those
but
who can afford, then definitely they can go for routine investigations also.
no, but I would say that I think there is no harm. आपके पास जो physicians के पास या family doctors के पास patients routinely आते रहते हैं, so हम एटलीस्ट उनका एक बेसिक पीएसए लिख सकते हैं।
Yes.
पीएसए बहुत सिंपल टेस्ट है जिससे कि बहुत सारे प्रोस्टेट कैंसर्स डायग्नोज हो जाते हैं। नहीं तो हमारे पास पेशेंट सीधा 700 पीएसए के साथ आते हैं। बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स हमारे पास आते हैं जो रेगुलर फिजिशियंस के पास जा रहे होते हैं, बट उनका कई सालों में एक भी अल्ट्रासाउंड भी नहीं हुआ होता है, एंड दे सडनली कम अप विद मल्टीपल लिवर मेट्स, गॉल ब्लैडर स्टोन्स, पेंक्रियाटिक कैंसर। सो आई थिंक साल में एक बार हम अपने पेशेंट्स का सिंपल एक्सरे, चेस्ट, अल्ट्रासाउंड, पीएसए, इतना बेसिक सीबीसी, लिवर फंक्शन, किडनी फंक्शन, इतना तो हम बेसिक करा सकते हैं, विच डज नॉट कॉस्ट मच।
Dr. Indu, can I ask one question?
यस
Regarding viral infection, you told that is 5%. But if you see female, the cervical cancer is the second most common cancer in India, and it is the fourth most common cancer in the world. And we know the HPV is the most important virus responsible for that. So 5% is slightly less as far as females are concerned, because it forms the major chunk of cervical cancer and is second most common cancer in the India as far as India is concerned.
Yeah, so I think that's a very, very valid point, sir, and thanks for bringing that out. But what I've seen is that the cervical cancer incidence is going down, has gone down drastically. Like in a few years back, ev at any point of time, at least I had 3, 4 cervical cancer patients who are getting treated. Now, in last 6 months, I've not seen even a single cervical cancer patient. So the cervical cancer incidence has gone down, at least in the metros. I would not say in the rural area it is still there. But earlier women used to have many children. There were 8, 8, 10 बच्चे होते थे, तो multiple having multiple children was the risk factor. Poor genital hygiene was a risk factor. But अब cervical cancer से ज़्यादा हमारे पास endometrial cancers आ रहे हैं, which is a lifestyle disease. So and काफी schools में भी अब cervical cancer vaccination प्रमोट किया जाता है, कॉर्पोरेट्स में बहुत वैक्सीनेशन हो रहा है। सो सर्वाइकल कैंसर इज डेफिनेटली गॉन डाउन, बट येस इट इज अ प्रिवेंटेबल कैंसर, एंड एचपीवी वैक्सीन आपके पास तो बहुत बच्चे आते होंगे टू गेट द वैक्सीनेशन डन। सो इट इज अ प्रिवेंटेबल कैंसर एंड डेफिनेटली वी शुड गाइड पेरेंट्स अबाउट दैट।
सेकेंड मैडम, एक मिथ है रिगार्डिंग द यूज ऑफ माइक्रोवेव, बिकॉज यूएस के अंदर बहुत ज्यादा एक लॉबी है which says that you don't use microwave, it causes cancer. But fact is that it is non-ionic radiation. So microwave is not going to cause cancer. This myth should be clear. But important is CT scan. I think some physicians, some pediatricians, some doctors sometimes write CT scans so frequently. And the most common cause of cancer as far as in pediatric age group is concerned, because of more radiation with the CT scan. Now they say that now the CT scan is higher version, the radiation is less, but still, if you see the radiation is too much, so one should avoid CT scan unless it is properly indicated, because so many things you get from the ultrasound also. So at least CT scan should be properly signed by 2 persons, or should be properly by a qualified person. So, because RMPs are writing CT scan like anything, because they want to diagnose things, and they, if any fever for prolonged duration, they go for CT scan. So I think this should be highlighted that CT scan is more dangerous than what you say is microwave and other things.
I think so. That's a very, very valid point. And I think I was reading something. I think there was a news yesterday itself.
Yeah.
At increased risk. I think there was something in the newspaper or in the media
Yes.
also. So definitely, I think आपके से जो आप लोग सीनियर फिजिशियंस हैं, आप लोग बहुत क्लिनिकल जजमेंट बहुत ज्यादा यूज करके यू डायग्नोज एंड ट्रीट मेनी पेशेंट्स, which should ideally be done. बट अभी उतना लोगों को एक तो मेडिको लीगल, मुझे जो ऐसा लगता है कि सीटी स्कैन का जो ज़्यादा rampant हो रहा है, one is to avoid being dragged for any medical legal case or being missing something. I think that is one of the reasons. Because of that, multiple investigations are being done, but definitely it should be avoided as much as possible, because we are not gaining anything much by writing the CT scans unnecessarily. So it's a very, very valid point, and I'm glad that you brought it across, sir.
And one opinion regarding microwave, your
Yes,
expert
sir.
opinion.
So, sir, regarding microwave, as you rightly said, there is still no data to prove that microwave cause cancer or heating the food in the microwave. The controversy is not that microwave causes cancer. The problem is that we use any material to heat food in microwave. So the problem is that हमारे यहाँ पे जो खाना आता है वो प्लास्टिक के डब्बों में आता है, विच आर वेरी लो क्वालिटी प्लास्टिक. तो जब आप माइक्रोवेव में खाने को हीट करते हो तो उसकी वजह से उसका प्लास्टिक लीच हो जाता है एंड इट गेट्स मिक्स्ड इन द फूड. So that leads to release of harmful chemicals in the food, which increases the risk of anything else. But if you are using high grade glass or high grade plastic, or using the material which is certified for use in microwave, then I don't think there is any risk of using any risk of heating the food in microwave.
सर
Thank you.
2024 की आईसीएमआर की गाइडलाइंस आई हैं सर फूड से रिलेटेड. उसमें उन्होंने क्लियर किया है कि माइक्रोवेव पे कोई उस पे कार्सिनोजेनिक कुछ नहीं होता. उस पे लेटेस्ट गाइडलाइन जो है ना सर, ये इसमें आया हुआ है. ये सिर्फ यही है कि आपको प्लास्टिक की उसमें कंटेनर में गर्म नहीं करना. जो कांच के हैं आप उसमें आप कर सकते हैं.
कांच का
दूसरा
भी
ये कि सारे
क्वालिटी
ऑलमोस्ट
होना चाहिए.
मैनी ऑफ द कंसर्न्स दे आर रिलेटेड टू lifestyle diseases. So we have to take care of